In this lesson, we're going to learn about mean, mode, and median. Now, these are all things we've done before, but we're learning some new formulas to step it up a level. Okay, here is our data set right here, 17, 16, 13, 15, 16, 20, 10, and 15. What we are going to do is we're going to find mean, mode, and median using our three formulas there that are right on the screen. So remembering that our mean here is our average, our mode is our most occurring score, and our median is the middle number when the data is ordered. Okay, that's a very important point we'll come back to. So let's start with our mode. It's our easiest one to do, and we will find our most occurring score. So our most occurring score, if we look along this line here, what we can see is that 16 appears twice and that 15 also appears twice. And that's totally okay to have two modes. That makes our data set bimodal. That bi prefix at the top there meaning 2, and so therefore our modes are both 15 and 16, and that's totally okay. A data set can have one mode, it can have two modes, or it can have no mode. If we said that 10 appeared twice and then we had three things that appeared twice, we would have no mode in this data set, and that's okay. Okay, let's get rid of some of this. We've done our mode, that's nice and easy. Now our next section needs to be our median. We'll erase all of this. Actually, we'll do our mean. So our mean is our average score, and we are using the formula of, this is our symbol for average now, or mean, sigma x, and sigma is a symbol that says we need to add everything up. Sigma x, so we're adding up all our data points and dividing by how many that there are. Now we can simply add them all up on the calculator, but for working out, I would expect to see them all written down. Takes a little bit of time, I understand that, but we are simply going to add them together inside some brackets and divide by how many there are, which is 8. Now I've used my calculator and actually found the number, and they all add together to give 122 divided by 8. And if we scroll down a little bit, our answer can then be 15.25. All right, that is our average of all of these scores. So far we have two mode, we have an average, and now we are going to find a median. Now in the past, we could always put our data in order to find our median and then count back from either side. So let's firstly put it in order. So what I like to do is tick them off as we go. So here's my smallest, 10, my next one is 13, I've got two 15s, I've got two 16s, and I've got a 17 and a 20, and that is all my data covered off. Okay, now that I've got everything, what we would have done in junior is count back. So we'd say cross the first one off, cross the last one off, and do that. But what we want to now do is use our new formula. So our formula says that the median is equal to this score, right? The n plus 1 divide 2 score. So it's this number score in the lineup, remembering that this is our ordered data. So that doesn't really make too much sense to us right now, but what we can do is figure out which number score it is in the line to figure out what the data value is. So we know that there are 8 scores. We're going to add an extra, divide by 2, and that's the score it's going to be. So 8 plus 1 is 9, divide 2 is our 4.5 score. So our 4.5 score. Now that sounds a bit strange, but let's have a look. We have our first, our second, our third, our fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. We know that the 4.5 score will lie exactly in the middle of the fourth and the fifth score. So we know it's going to sit between these two scores. So remember, we're only looking at the score number so far. We're not actually looking at the data number. So the next step is to say the 4.5 score is going to equal 15 plus 16, and we find the middle of that by dividing by 2. So that will be 15.5. So to do our actual number of our score, we have to find the midpoint. Now we have an even number of data points here. We've got 8. Let's use a different set of data where we don't have an even number. Right here we've got our height data that we've measured ourselves, and we have 13 scores that we're going to work with. So again, instead of actually just counting back, we can do our median formula again. So our median will equal this score, our n plus 1 over 2 score. We know we've got 13 data points, and that's going to be the score. So what we're looking at is 14 divided 2, which is our 7th score. Now, because it's a whole number, it makes it a lot easier. So we can simply go, all right, here is our 7th score. So our median is going to equal 180, and in this case, it was height in centimeters. Because these are in order, we can do it nice and easily. Instead of having to say count all the way back, we can just use this formula.